Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to the library tour of Doom. This is a tour much delayed recently. Sorry about that. That goes through every book that I own and every book that I ever have owned, book by book, uh, day by day. So it'll last forever. I'm hoping that it crops up a number of fun things for you, maybe things that you didn't know about, maybe things that you think you want, things to add to your TBR. The sort of thing that any library tour does, only here stretched out forever, one book at a time, so that I don't have to say a 1 minute commentary about a book. And today, oh boy, today is wonderful. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. It's a kid's book, a kid's picture book. I mean to do more of those than I do. Every time I do one on the library tour of Doom, I get flooded with emails. The note to you new people, I leave my email on every video. That's not a junk email. That's not a merch store. That's not some third cousin of mine that I pay slave wages to handle it. This channel is not monetized. That is my own email. Feel free to email me about everything. And every time I do a kid's picture book in the library tour of Doom, I get bombarded with people thanking me. And that's great. That's fantastic because I love them. I don't have any children of my own that Deb and I are willing to acknowledge anyway. I read these things because when they're good, they are wonderful. And that's what we're doing today. We're going back to the 1980s when all the world made sense. And we're dealing with a book that I have praised many, many times on this channel before. This is written by Bill Martin and John Archambault, and it's drawn by the great Ted Rand. It's a children's book called Barn Dance. And it is, there you can see, even the cover alone gives you an idea of the genius of Ted Rand. I have mentioned many times before, he's one of my favorite kids' books illustrators. And in addition to all his other skills, the things he does with moonlight are just amazing. Somehow he manages to make that look like moonlight, even though it doesn't look like moonlight. You wouldn't use a gold palette to signify moonlight. He does this in every book. Moonlight plays a strong visual role in every book that he illustrates, and it's always slightly counterintuitive and wonderful. And this is a wonderful story. It is very musical. It is clearly meant to be sung and danced as much as recited to kids. And it starts off just at nightfall. Look at that moonlight flooding everywhere. His moon is golden, like the sun, and it is shedding a light, golden light on everything, but it doesn't look like sunlight. I don't know how he manages it. Maybe it's an interplay with shadows. One way or another, though, it looks like an ordinary night, but it's not. Full moon shining big and bright, pushing back the shadows, holding back the night. Not a thing stirring, quiet as could be, just a whisper of the leaves in the cottonwood tree. Old hound dog whining in his sleep, dreaming after rabbits in a game of hide and seek. Over in the farmhouse, all the lights were out. Farmer and his wife and kids, not a one about. And we have the old farm dog, illuminated by the moon, with rabbits hopping over him. There's the farmhouse, and there's the destination. There's the barn, down there in the well of the great full moon. All except the skinny kid with questions in his head, much too full of wonderment to spend the night in bed. He was up about and listening. That's the skinny kid. He's not identified any more than that because every family has one. Whether it's a boy or a girl, every family has the skinny kid whose head is always full of wonderment, the one who's going to march to the beat of their own drummer. Look at how beautiful that is. He's awake, and he notices. He notices the call of the owl. The owl says, "Come in closer, come a little closer. Listen to the night. There's magic in the air." And there he is, heading out past the old hound dog, who's sound asleep, headed towards the barn, where a dance is occurring. A dance is taking place in the barn. Then the skinny kid heard it faint begin, a plink, plink, plink on the wind's violin, coming from the cornfield, sweet and soft and low, music honeyed up by the old scarecrow, a plinking on the fiddle to tune him up just so. And there we see the scarecrow, calling in animals from the moonlight-flooded fields. And there's the skinny kid, headed to the barn where we can see a sliver of light. Something is inside the barn. It's not closed for the night. The scarecrow tucked the fiddle underneath his chin and fiddled out a welcome to all his country kin. He fiddled through the woods and fields and all around the farm, bidding everybody come to a hoedown in the barn. And there they come. 2 by 2, they come to the barn. There was so much a chit and chatter when the critters all arrived that no one saw the skinny kid oozle in and hide. Just in time to hear the crow call the dance begin. Grab yourself a partner and jump right in. And there's the skinny kid. watching this in wonderment while all this happens. You've got the pigeons in the rafter, you've got all the animals choosing their partners, and they notice him right away. He doesn't need to stay hidden. They bow courtly to their partners, and then the barn dance begins, and it is a wild frenzy of motion. He dances with the cow. Uh, Out came the skinny kid, a ticking and a talking, and a humming and a yeeing and a rocking and a socking, and he danced his little toe through the hole in his stocking. And it goes nuts. He shows them how to do it. He goes crazy. Everybody has fun. The dancing becomes so wild that, but all the fat little pigs whirled round and round till they got so dizzy that they all fell down. They all are falling down, and the skinny kid is having a time of his life in the middle of magic, but magic won't stay. And the same person who called that magic was coming calls that it's about to end, and that is the owl. Look at the purple there. See, everybody's trooping out of the barn. Look at the purple. The incredible moonlight that Ted Rand is so good at delineating is gone. Instead, we're getting a rising purple coming from the horizon. The sky was warming up for the coming of the day when the skinny kid heard the night owl say. Notice the ellipses. That is meant to preserve a dancing, chanting rhythm. The skinny kid heard the night owl say, "Morning's coming closer, morning's coming closer. The magic time is over, night'll soon be gone." And he's running back to the house. Look at that as dawn comes up. Of course, the house's sentinel has been sound asleep, but is now waking up. The skinny kid gets in just in time. Old hound dog stretched and blinked a sleepy eye, just a blink too late to see the skinny kid slip by. He tiptoed through the kitchen and tiptoed up the stairs, as quiet as a feather on a breath of air. He hummed a little do-si-do and flopped himself in bed with the wonders of the barn dance dancing in his head. And you have full daylight, but the skinny kid can't sleep. He's looking at the hole in his stocking that he did by dancing. Just wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. And I can't analyze why that daylight looks different on the bedspread than the moonlight did. But one way or another, this is an ode to dreamers. It's an ode to the kids who see magic in the night, who see magic in everything they look at. Just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Often wonder what it would be like to sing-song perform this out loud for a group of kids. It's made for that, obviously. It's made to be sort of sing-song called at a country dance. But one way or another, one of my favorite kids' picture books of all time. When it came to the bookstore, I couldn't get enough of it. When I finally worked in a bookstore, I handed it to every customer. Customers would come in and say, "Oh, I thought you were the history guy." And I'd say, no, I'm the recommendation guy. I don't want you to waste your time and money. I want to show you the good stuff. And I'd read everything in order to find the good stuff. And I would say to them, harried adults at the store on their 1 hour lunch break, I would say, take this aside for a minute and read through it. See if the magic in it doesn't jump right out and grab you. They always said, "Oh my, this is what I want." In fact, I lost count of how many customers came to me back to my information desk. I would hurry back to the information desk to answer more questions. I lost track of how many customers came to find me and said, "I want a hardcover. In fact, I want a few hardcovers of this. Do you have it in hardcover?" I have a hardcover of this somewhere, but I also grab it whenever I see it used. You don't see kids' picture books used all that often. They get destroyed by their little recipients. But when I see it, I grab it. So I have a couple of copies of this. But that is your book for today. An absolute classic, Barn Dance, with illustrations by the great Ted Rand. So that's your library tour of doom for today. We'll try and resume tomorrow. We're never going to get this finished anyway. We're We're certainly not going to finish if I take days off. So I'll try to get in a video tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to wrap this up. But I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.